Hi there, I'm Jessica Rose from the London Jewellery School, and today I'm going to show you how to make some jewellery. Great, so welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make a lovely Christmas decoration for your tree in the style of a snowflake, a bit like this lovely one I have here. And all you need is some wire and some beads, and I've been able to make this lovely design. And then I've attached a nice ribbon and bow at the top so that I can attach it to the tree. They make lovely gifts and are also lovely just to have for around the house, and they're a pretty easy make. So the first thing I'm going to do is take some wire, and I've got my silver plated 0.8mm thick wire here. Now you could use a 1mm thick, that might make it an even stronger piece, but it's up to you. This is plenty strong enough. And I'm going to take my ruler and measure out 3 lots of 15 centimeters. So what I do is I'll just measure the first one with the ruler and cut it with my cutters. So you can use any cutting pliers to cut your wire. And then the others I'm going to do off of the first one. So I just pull it along and cut. And one more. Great, so now I've got my 3 wires. I want to straighten them. There's a few different ways to straighten wire. The easiest way is literally just to put it in your fingers and pull it straight. Another way, if you have nylon-jawed pliers, they are brilliant for straightening wire as well. So once your 3 wires are as straight as possible, you're going to get a thinner wire. This is a 0.4mm wire, and this is the wire that I'm going to use for attaching my 3 wires together. So I take the long straight piece, any one, and I'm just going to wrap my 0.4mm wire around it once, nice and tight. Get that in the middle of the piece and just pull it so it's nice and tight. Then I'm going to take my next piece of 0.8mm wire and place it diagonally across. So you can imagine we're going to have all 3. This is just the second one. And then using my wire, I'm just going to wrap over it and under, and then I come up. Now it doesn't matter that much exactly how you wrap these pieces, as long as they come together. That's my first one. And it'll help at this stage to cut a piece off the reel. So initially I'm just bunching them together, and I'll worry about the placing a little more a bit later. So I'm taking my first piece of wire now and just wrapping under and over each piece. And we just want to make sure that they stay together. And with wire wrapping, when you wrap, that is how you attach pieces. So I hope you can see I've got my initial 2 larger pieces, and then this is the thin wire, which is one piece that I'm using to wrap them together. So that feels pretty solid. So now I'm ready to add my 3rd piece. And at this stage I want to kind of get an idea of the shape and that my pieces are in the middle. And then as I add my 3rd piece, I continue wrapping around, and I hope you can see there. So I've got my 6 different ends, and all I'm doing is kind of pulling them together. Then once it's starting to feel pretty solid, I get my flat nose pliers and I just give it a nice big squidge to kind of push it all in together. And whilst I do that, I just place my pieces in the direction I want them to go in. Now don't worry too much about getting your spokes perfect at this stage, because as you put the beads on, they'll become a lot firmer and stronger, and by that stage we'll be able to get them all exactly the same height as well. Great, so a few last little wraps. Then when I'm happy, I'm going to cut off my ends. So that little end I've just wrapped all the way around and could just tuck it in using my flat nose pliers, or you could use some chain nose pliers. The other end, you can either cut it off or you can do like a little coil with the wire. I'll just show you very quickly. If you don't know how to do coils, we cover them in some of the other videos as well. I just make a loop at the top with my round nose pliers, and then using some flat or chain nose pliers, I just curl round. This isn't really an essential part of the project, but it's just a nice little touch. And then when I get to the middle, I just press the coil down on top. So that will be the front of my piece. Brilliant, and that is the tricky part over. So that's my wire base. It might be easier to see without the mat actually. So there's my wire spokes for my snowflake, and now I'm going to be ready to add my beads. Just put that aside for a second, and I have a design which I'd like to do. So I like to lay out the design beforehand, because it just shows me the kind of thing that I'm going to be doing, and it also allows me to see whether I have enough beads. So remembering that I need 6 of everything because there are 6 spokes. So I'm going to start with these lovely 6mm gold beads in the middle, and then I have some really nice amethyst beads. I'm just going to show you on one end what my design is going to be. So you can see here that I have a really nice fuchsia pink design, and I'm kind of mirroring that with using the gold, but this time I'm using a mauve purple design. So, and then I have 2 of those, and then at the very top I have a little gold piece like that, and that's what I'm going to be doing all the way around. And it works really well for the snowflake to have a larger bead in the centre, because snowflakes tend to have that kind of traditional shape of getting larger in the middle and then tiny at the top. So when I'm ready, I can thread my first lot on, and I always start with whichever spoke looks the smallest to make sure that I have plenty of room in terms of what design I've chosen, because if it fits on the smallest spoke, then it will fit on all the others as well. So that's my first spoke done. When I get to the end, I need to make a little loop. I've got way too much wire here. I just want to make a very nice neat little loop. So I'm going to cut it down. So I've got about 1 centimetre or so left. And can you see, as I'm pulling it through, it's pulling it through from this end. So what I need to do is just pull that back and make sure that I don't keep pulling it through. Cut it down. Take your round nose pliers, so they're pliers with a coned end. Place them in towards the top, make sure there's nothing sticking out this side. Then whilst holding it nice and firmly, I'm just going to bring it all the way around to meet my beads. Now normally my hand stops me there from being able to move anymore, so all I need to do is release the plier jaw, spin it round, close it, and then do the same. So I've got a nice strong clamp. Now don't worry if there's a gap, it's just because it's pulling from this side, but I can deal with that in a minute. But first of all, I want to centralise my loop. I have a loop, but it's like a 9 shape, and I want it to be in the middle. So all I need to do is go back in with my pliers, then holding this nice and firm, I just pull that back to centralise that loop. Then I'm going to place all the beads back down and pull the other end through, and then I have it kind of perfectly ready. So that's my first spike. Now I'm going to do the opposite end of the same spike next, exactly the same, carry on my beads and make my loop, and then I'm going to go around and do all of the others. So I'm now just finishing off my last stalk, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the beads. So I'm using a mixture of different beads that I've just bought from a local bead shop, and if you were doing this with children or you were doing it with friends and family, you can just get beads from any local craft store. They can be any style, size, shapes, designs. Just have a play around and see what you like. And as I put my last little bead on, so this is the final stalk, and with this one I want to make a slightly bigger loop at the top, because what I want to do is attach some ribbon to it. So you can see, like in the one that I made earlier, I like attaching these lovely big ribbons to them. So I've got this lovely length of ribbon and I want to fit it through my loop. So to start off with, I am still going to cut it down because it's still pretty long, but I want to make this one just slightly bigger, the loop. So I need to leave a little bit more space than I have been. Then I'm going to take it a little bit further down my pliers. So I've been making my loops towards the top of my round nose pliers, and now I want to bring it to kind of the middle, maybe even a bit towards the bottom. And I'm just going to twist round in the normal way. I just use my fingernail there to bend back that little piece. So I'll just show you again. As I twist round, I just push it back, and that will keep it nice and central. Then once I've got a lovely full loop there that I can work with, I'm going to take my ribbon, find the center point and scrunch it up nice and tightly so that it's ready to go in. Then come back to my larger loop, put my round nose pliers back in and just open it just enough to fit the ribbon through. And then I hope you can see I've just scrunched that all up. So I've got the ribbon on one side and the loop on the other. Then I take my round nose pliers back in and just close that all the way so that it meets. And then I'm ready to tie my knot at the top. And then there we have it, our lovely finished snowflake. And as I said, these make gorgeous decorations for the Christmas tree. There's another one there. You can use them for all sorts of festive treats. They're great for making with the kids, but they're also really nice just to make yourself and just to enjoy. You can use exactly the same technique to make miniature ones, which could go on a Christmas card or even be a gift. And you could even make them as part of a necklace or a little pair of earrings. So the possibilities really are endless. And I hope you enjoyed. Please do leave a comment below. Let me know how you found this project. I'd love to see pictures of your snowflakes and things that you've been making, especially if they're on the tree. So do send those in to us at the London Jewellery School, or post them on our social media page. We would love to see those. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. As usual, all the tools and materials needed are provided in the links below. And if you enjoyed and would like to learn more, then hop on over to our site, which is jewelleryschoolonline.com, for professional online jewellery courses that can help you develop skills to become a jeweller or to make for fun at home as a hobby. All of our courses are based on the site, and we look forward to meeting you over there soon.